Wepa. I didn't really start writing music till high school, but it was sort of a natural that I would write musicals. I think particularly for Latinos, life resembles a musical more for us than almost any other group, because you have spontaneous block parties that start out of nothing in the middle of the street. I grew up watching Facts of Life in different strokes and living a very American upbringing, but I can't tell you how many times hanging out around the house whenever my parents would home would turn into an impromptu salsa lesson or an impromptu lecture on the importance of Fania All-Stars. I remember my dad being like, "You're going to learn to dance salsa or you're going to get out of my house." I was 5. Pero a la misma vez, my father, born and raised in Vega Alta, Puerto Rico, was the president of the Debbie Reynolds fan club. And every Christmas, we would watch The Unsinkable Molly Brown. My mom used to blast Camelot in our Subaru. There were just these incredibly clever songs, and I just hooked into the words. When I was in 6th grade, I was in 6 musicals, 20-minute versions of 6 musicals. My poor effing parents had to sit through a 4-hour extravaganza, while my poor music teacher probably got carpal tunnel playing the whole score. It's funny, there's a sort of willingness to believe that Latinos have rice and beans, and salsa, merengue, bachata, and that's sort of it. But our generation, we straddle all these things. We have Nintendo book bags, and we talk about Thundercats and He-Man, but we also have Hector Lavoe and Willie Colon at home. So as you grow up, you learn to encompass all these things and figure out who you are amidst all of it. And that, in a nutshell, is what In the Heights is about. It was a dare to myself that I could use Latin music the same way Ruben Blades used Latin music to tell stories, the same way Big Pun used hip-hop music to tell stories. And if you build it, they will come. And Latinos will come see a Broadway show if you build something that they can see themselves in. We had a talk back the other day at the theater, and this very sassy Dominican girl says, "Aren't you worried like this is going to be like the only show for Latinos on Broadway ever?" And I said, yes, write. No one's going to write your dream show for you. You have to write it.
When I was 21, on December 23rd, 17 years ago, I told my mom, "Mom, I have to go to America. I don't know why, but I have to go." So my dad came in and gave me $100, which is the $100 that I used to pay the coyote. You have to go through freeways, you have to go under tunnels, mud everywhere. We waited for like 3-4 hours underwater. And all this time, you know, in the back of your mind, you have, is this guy gonna kill me? My mind was playing games with me, you know, because they tell you about all these things that happen. But the worst part that happened is not that, is when I saw people being taken away from rivers, you know, families being detached from each other because the coyote would say, "Keep going." It's hard to explain what kept me going. I never felt the fear. I never felt alone. La Virgen de Guadalupe, I mean, all the saints were taking care of me. There's no doubt about it. My mom was praying, you know, 24 hours a day. I just didn't see myself going back. I only saw my future going forward. And it's like it's a natural force behind you, you know, in a sense of total trust. I always say Mexico is my motherland and America is my fatherland. Mexico gave me the knowledge, but what gave me the direction was America. What I wanted to do in America is to train or learn from Americans how to train dogs. I did search and rescue, I did drug dogs, I did bomb dogs, I did obedience and all this stuff that, you know, that is already available here. But all these bomb dogs, drug dogs, and police dogs, they had issues. Dogs in America are nice and chunky, but they're unstable. Dogs in Mexico are skinny, but they're not unstable. And so I said, I have to open a dog psychology center. So I saved $300, which was a lot of money, because by that time I already have a baby, and I need to buy Pampers, so I didn't buy the Pampers. You know, sorry. So little by little, you know, once we had this thing, and this Cuban guy let me have this shelter, it was a parking lot. So I made this parking lot a dog psychology center. And that was another challenge because people say, well, nobody's gonna come to South Central Los Angeles. Well, a month later, dogs start arriving on limos. I never had business cards, I never had anything. It's all word of mouth, you know. Dennis Rodman came, Nicolas Cage came, Vin Diesel came. So they heard about this Mexican guy in South Central that can walk a pack of dogs, and they can put pit bulls and Rottweilers and German Shepherds together. Because my clients are very intelligent, Harvard graduate, but they can't walk a Chihuahua. Dog lovers, you know, they throw a birthday party for dogs, but they can't really control their dogs. I saw myself bringing something really good to the world, really good to the country. So a lot of people from different parts of the world start, you know, wanting, they needed my my assistance in the relationship with their dogs. That's when I said, well, maybe I have to bring what I know to television. I always knew I could make a difference. You know, I just didn't know how in the beginning, but I knew that through television or radio, I was able to reach people and let them see that it's not the dog, it's the human behind the dog.
When I was growing up, there was no one else around me who had a name like mine. I mean, back then I pronounced it Maria Hinojosa. So there were no Maria Hinojosas anywhere. I would look for those little keychains, you know, those name keychains. And I would often find Marie and never Maria. I just really wanted to be like Randy Kalish or Lisa Tim or Susie Goldfarb. Plus, my full name is Maria de Lourdes Hinojosa Ojeda. Oh, God. But then, when I became a journalist, and suddenly it was my voice out there, you know, by then I had gone through a whole process of understanding my own identity, and I absolutely, very consciously decided that as a public persona, I was Maria Hinojosa. That is my name. That's how it was given to me. That's how it's pronounced. And I can't tell you the number of letters that I get from people and phone calls from people saying, why do you say your name like that? I hate it. Can you Americanize it? I get triple the amount from people saying, oh my God, I can't believe you say your name like that. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. So there's something about a name that is powerful. When I gave birth to my kids, something just happened where suddenly my son, by the time he was ready to be born, he had several names. Raúl Ariel Jesús de Todos los Santos Pérez Hinojosa. And every part of his name has a reason for being. And my daughter, her full name is María Jurema Guadalupe de los Indios Pérez Hinojosa. My idea is that one day, and it's already happened, one day their best friends are going to come over to them and say, oh man, my name is Susie Brown. I want to have 16 names like you. And my daughter, on her, you know, whatever little email or not a Facebook page, but one of those pages, she put her full name. She wrote it out and she said, that's my totally awesome name.
Arriba los Latinos!
Every opportunity I had, even my marriage, you know, is because of dog. I went to the White House because of dog. I met Oprah because of dog.
I learned Spanish from this old lady, sin diente, who was a compulsive gambler and would take me to play La Maquinita in the back of the bodega on the corner of Dyckman Street.
The first time I ever saw or felt my reality reflected was actually West Side Story. There was a song for a girl named Maria. That was me. And I had been invisible up until I was the only Maria I felt like in the entire United States.